It's called Alice's Restaurant. It's about Alice and a restaurant. But Alice's Restaurant is not the name of the restaurant. That's just the name of the song. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Just walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the county track. Well, you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Now it all started 2 Thanksgivings ago, when me and my friend went up for a visit to see Alice. But Alice doesn't live in the restaurant. She lives in the church nearby the restaurant in the bell tower with her husband Ray and a fashion daughter. Living in the bell tower like they got all the rooms, a lot of them in the downstairs, where the pews used to be. Having all that room, seeing as how they took out all the pews, they decided that they didn't have to take out their garbage for a long time. Oh, we got up there and we found all the garbage in there. And we decided that'd be a friendly gesture for us to go up and take the garbage down to the city dump. So we took the half a ton of garbage, put it in the back of a red VW microbus, took shovels and rakes, implements of destruction, and headed on down to the city dump. Well, when we got there, there's a big sign and a chain across the dump saying closed on Thanksgiving. And we had never heard of a dump closed on before Thanksgiving. With our tears in our eyes, and we drove into the sunset, looking for another place to put the garbage, but we didn't find one. Side of the road, and off the side of the road was another 15-foot cliff, and at the bottom of the cliff was another pile of garbage. And then we decided that the one big pile is better than 2 little piles, and rather than bring up that one, we decided to throw ours down. And that's what we did. We drove back to the church and had a Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat. We went to sleep and didn't get up till the next morning. Then we got a phone call from Officer Obie. He said, "Kid, we found your name in the envelope in the half a ton of garbage. And I just wanted to know if you had any information about it." And I said, "Yes, sir, Officer Obie. I cannot tell another lie. I put the envelope under the garbage." After speaking with Obi for about 45 minutes on the telephone, we finally arrived at the truth of the matter. He said that we had to go down and pick up the garbage, and also had to go down and speak to him at the police officer's station. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. You just walk right in, surround the back, just a half mile from the railroad track. Well, you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. So we got in the red VW microbus with the shovels and the rakes and the implements of mass destruction. We headed on toward the police officer's station. Now, friends, there was only one or two things that Obi could have done at the police station. And the first was that he could have gave us a medal for being so brave and honest on the telephone, which wasn't very likely, and we didn't expect it. And the other thing was that he could have bawled us out and told us that he'd never be seen driving garbage around the vicinity again, which is what we expected. Well, when we got to the police officer's station, there was a third possibility that we haven't even counted upon, and we was both immediately arrested. Handcuffed. I said, Obi, I don't think I can pick up the garbage with these handcuffs on. He said, shut up, kid, get back in the patrol car. So that's what we did. Sat in the back of the patrol car and drove up to the quote scene of the crime, unquote. I want to tell you about the town of Stockbridge, Massachusetts. Well, this is where it happened. They got 3 stop signs, 2 police officers, 1 police car. And when we got to the scene of the crime, there was 5 police officers and 3 police cars. Being the biggest crime of the last 50 years, everybody wanted to get in the newspaper story about it, and they was using up all kinds of cop equipment they had hanging around the police officer's station. There was taking plasters, tire tracks, footprints, dog-smelling prints, and they took 27 8x10 colored glossy photographs with the circles and the arrows and the paragraph on the back of each one, explaining each one was used as evidence against us. Took pictures of the approach, the getaway, the northwest corner, the southwest corner, and not to mention the aerial photography. After the ordeal, we went back in the jail, and Obi said he was going to put us in the cell. Said, kid, I'm going to put you in the cell. I want your wallet, your belt. And I said, Obi, I can't understand you wanting my wallet, so I don't have any money to spend in the cell. And what you want my belt for? He said, kid, we don't want any hangings. I said, Obi, did you think I was going to hang myself for a little piece of pie? Well, Obi said he was just making sure, and friends Obi was, 'cause he took out the toilet seat so I couldn't hit myself over the head and drown. He took out the toilet paper so I couldn't bend the bars, roll out. And the roll of toilet paper out the window, slide down the roll and have an escape. Obi was just making sure. It was about 4 or 5 hours later that Alice, remember Alice? Yeah, it's a song about Alice. Well, Alice came by with a few nasty words to Obi on the side. She bailed us out of jail, and we went back to the church and had a Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat, and didn't get up until the next morning when we all had to go to court. Well, you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. You just walk right in around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. We walked in, sat down. Obi came in with the 27 8x10 glossy pictures, with the circles and the arrows and the paragraph on the back of each one. Sat down, man came in and said, all rise. We all stood up, and Obi stood up with the 27-foot picture, looking at the one-eyed seeing dog, and then circles on the paragraphs of each one. And looked at the seeing-eye dog, and at the 27 8x10 glossy pictures with the circles and the arrows and the paragraphs on the back of each one, and began to cry. Because Obi, he came to the realization that it was just a typical case of American blind justice, and there was nothing that he could do about it. And the judge wasn't gonna look at the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with the circles around it and the paragraph on the back of each one, explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. And we was fined $50. Had to pick up the garbage in the snow, and that's not what I came to tell you about. I came to talk about the draft. They got a building down New York City. It's called Whitehall Street, where you walk in, get injected, inspected, detected, infected, neglected, and selected. And I went down to get my physical examination one day, and I walked in, I sat down, and I got a good drunk the night before. So I looked and felt my best when I went in that morning. Cause I wanted to look like the all-American kid from New York City. Man, I wanted to feel like I wanted to be the all-American kid from New York. And I walked in, sat down, I was hung down, brung down, hung up, and all kinds of mean, nasty things. And I walked in, sat down. They gave me a piece of paper, said, "Kid, see the psychiatrist, room 604. And I went up there and I said, "Shrink, I wanna kill. I wanna kill. I wanna see blood and gore and guts and veins in my teeth and eat dead and burnt bodies. Kill. And I started jumping and yelling, kill. He started jumping up and down with me, and we was both jumping up and down, yelling, kill. And the sergeant came over, pinned a medal on me, sent me down the hall, and said, "Oh, you're our boy." Well, I didn't feel too good about it. Proceed on down the hall, getting more injections, inspections, detections, neglections, and all kind of stuff that they was doing to me at the thing there. And I was there for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I was there for a long enough time, going through all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly things, and I was just having a tough time in there. And they was injecting every single part of me, and they're leaving no part untouched. Proceeded through, and well, when I finally came to see the very last man, I walked in, sat down after a whole big thing there, and I walked up and said, "What do you want?" He said, "Kid, we only got one question. Have you ever been arrested?" Well, you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurants. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. You just walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad tracks. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. And I proceeded to tell him the story of Alice's restaurant massacre, with the full orchestration, the 5-part harmony, and stuff like that, and all the phenomena. Said, "Stop it, kid, right there." And said, "Kid, did you ever go to court?" And I proceeded to tell him the story of the 27 8x10 glossy pictures with the circles and the arrows and the paragraphs on the back of each one. And stop it right there. He said, "Kid, I want you to go over and sit down on that bench that says Group W. Now, kid." I walked over to the bench there. There was a group of W's where they put you if you may not be moral enough to join the army. And after committing your special crime, there was all kind of mean, nasty, ugly looking people on the bench there. Mother rapers, father stabbers, father rapers, right there on the bench next to me. And one, they was a mean and nasty, ugly, horrible crime type of guy just sitting there on the bench. And yeah, I mean, the meanest and ugliest, nastiest one, the meanest father raper of them all was coming over to me. And he was all mean and ugly and nasty and horrible and all kinds of things. And he sat down next to me and he said, "Kid, what'd you get?" I said, I didn't get nothing. I had to pay $50 and pick up the garbage. He said, "What were you arrested for, kid?" And I said, "Littering." They all moved away from me on the bench there, and the hairy eyeball and all kinds of mean, nasty things, till I said, "Creating a nuisance." And they all came back, shoot my hand, and we all had a great time on the bench, talking about crime, mother stabbing, father raping, and all kinds of groovy things that we was talking about on the bench. And everything was fine. We was smoking cigarettes and all kinds of things, until the sergeant came over. He had some kind of paper in his hand, held it up and said, "Kids, this piece of paper got a 47 word, 37 sentence, 58 words. We want to know the details of your crime, the time of the crime, and any other thing you gotta say pertaining to and about the crime. And I want to know the arresting officer's name and any other kind of thing you gotta say." And he talked for about 45 minutes. Nobody understood a word that he said, but we had fun filling out forms and playing with the pencils on the bench there. And I filled out the massacre with the 4-part harmony, wrote it down there just like it was, and everything was fine. And I put down the pencil and I turned over the piece of paper, and there on the other side, in the middle of the other side, away from everything else, on the other side, in parentheses, capital letters quoted, read the following words: "Kid, have you rehabilitated yourself?" I went over to the sergeant, said, "Sergeant, you got a lot of damn gall to ask me if I've rehabilitated myself. I mean, I'm just sitting here on the bench. I'm just sitting there with a Group W bench, 'cause you want to know if I'm moral enough to join the army, burn women, kids and houses, villages after being a litter bug." And he looked at me and he said, "Kid, we don't like your kind. And we're gonna send your fingerprints off to Washington, and friends somewhere in Washington, enshrined in some little folder is a study in black and white of my fingerprints. And the only reason I'm singing you this song now is 'cause you may know somebody in a similar situation, or you may be in a similar situation. And if you're in a situation like that, there's only one thing you can do, and it's to walk into the shrink wherever you are. Just walk in and say, 'Shrink.' You can get anything you want. Walk out, and if you know one person, just one person does it, they might think he's really sick and they won't take him. And if two people do it in harmony, they may think they're both faggots, and they won't even take either of them. And if 3 people do it, the 3 can imagine 3 people walking in, singing a bar of Alice's restaurant and walking out. They may think it's an organization. And can you imagine 50 people a day? I said 50 people a day walking in, singing a bar of Alice's restaurant and walking out. And the friends, they may think it's a movement, and that's what it is. The Alice Restaurant Anti-Massacre Movement. And all you gotta do is join, is to sing it the next time it comes around, on the guitar with feeling. wait till it comes around on the guitar and sing it when it does. And here it comes. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. You just walk right in around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad tracks. So you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. That was horrible. And if you want to end war and the stuff, you gotta sing loud. And I can put a lot. I've been singing this song now for 25 minutes. I could not sing it for another 20 more. I'm not proud or tired, so we'll wait till it comes around again. And this time with the 4-part harmony feeling, we're just waiting for it to come around is what we're doing all right now. You can get anything you want except Alice at Alice's restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. You just walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. You can get anything you want